Today we'll see the histology of the blood vessels, how the overall structure look like. So the topic is histology. In the last lesson, we have seen the structure of arteries and veins separately. So in this particular section, we'll see the histology, how it is made up of. Histology means study of tissues, the internal part. Okay. So the wall of arteries. So let's begin with the blood vessels wall. So we have seen there is three types of layer. First layer is Tunica Externa. Second is again Tunica Media, that is the middle layer. And the third is again Tunica Interna, or you can say Intima, same thing. So Intima is the inner layer, Media is the middle layer, Externa is the outer layer. Okay, so let's begin with the Tunica Externa first. Okay. And the names are common. You can see in the vein also Tunica Externa is present, and arteries also have Tunica Externa. See the width, see the diameter of the lumen. Arteries have narrow lumen, veins have larger lumen. Right? So you can see that arteries, the wall of arteries and vein are made up of three layers. First, let's talk about Tunica Externa, means the outer layer. In some books, in some NCRT, not in NCRT, in other books, you will find that Tunica Externa is also termed as Tunica adventitia. That is another layer. Another name. This layer, externa, is actually consists of collagen fiber. Consists of collagen fiber. And due to this collagen fiber, they have a strength, so they can easily, up to a limit, they can slightly expand without bursting, without getting damaged. So you can say the first point that tunica externa consists of collagen fiber to give strength. Strength to blood vessels in both the cases, arteries or vein, and prevent from further dilation and prevent over dilation, so that they should not get stretched beyond the limit. If it is, then blood vessels will get open, right? They will get burst. So if you see the tunica externa and compare in arteries and vein, you can see here that it is more developed in vein, less developed in arteries.
Mm.
So you can say it is more developed in vein as compared to arteries. So the nature of the layer is made in such a way that they should bear up the pressure of the flow of the blood. They should not get damaged, right? So that's the point. That's why these blood vessels have collagen fiber. Next. Next is the second layer is called Tunica Media. This is the middle layer, and this layer is formed by smooth muscles. So you have to remember what type of muscles are present in these layers. First layer have collagen fiber, middle layer have smooth muscles. So you can say that it is the middle layer formed by smooth muscles, and network of elastic fiber. We know that your blood vessels slightly stretch. So the stretchness, expansion and the contraction property in the blood vessels, generally in the arteries, is due to presence of these elastic fibers. So next point, you can say that it is better developed in arteries, and so the wall of arteries is more elastic with respect to veins. So veins have less elastic because the blood is not flowing with high speed, so there is no need. Now, the third layer, which is present in the blood vessels, is Tunica Interna. Tunica Interna is an actually innermost layer, and this innermost layer is consists of two parts. So let's talk about the two parts. Consist of two different layers. So what are these two different layers? Let's talk about it. So first is endothelium, and second is elastic membrane. Endo means inside, thelium means the layer. So if a cell layer is present inside, we call it endothelium. If the cell layer is present outside, we call epithelium. So term is like that. Epi means outer, endo means inside. So endothelium is the innermost layer. Innermost layer and made up of elongated cell. Made up of flat elongated cells. And if you will compare the endothelium in both arteries and vein, you will find that it is more elongated in arteries. So you can say that more elongated in arteries. Then, and the cells are joined by edge to edge. Right? So that's very unique thing. The cells are joined edge to edge while making endothelium. So there is a slight unique pattern. Whereas in elastic membrane, it is an outer layer of tunica interna. So once tunica interna is going to begin, the first thin layer present outside, that is elastic membrane. So you can say first point that it is outermost layer of Tunica Interna. Fine. Second layer, they are made up of fibrous tissue. They are made up of fibrous tissue. You can say yellow fibrous tissue. That would be the correct term. And these fibrous tissues are elastic in nature. They can expand. And it is more developed in artery than vein. The reason is blood is flowing with high speed. So we must have all these expanding property or you can say extension property in the arteries so that they can expand and contract on the demand of the blood vessels or demand of the blood flow, right? Okay, so next is blood capillaries. Arteries, veins are done. So blood capillaries are very thin because the reason why, because uh, arteries and veins, they can't go in between the gaps of the cells to provide nutrition and take the all the waste substances. So let's try to understand how they are arranged then. Is there any direct contact between blood vessels and the organ? Answer is no. Let's see how. Suppose this is the blood vessel. You can call it blood capillary. And suppose this is your cell. Okay. And there is a nucleus. Okay. And so there are multiple cells, right? Like this. All cells have nucleus. In between the gaps of the nucleus, there are some liquid present here, right? This liquid is called interstitial fluid. And this interstitial fluid is the liquid present here, and the gap, this gap is called interstitial gap. Right, so let's take an example. If suppose oxygen is going to get diffused in the cells, how they are going to go. So from here you have carbon dioxide in the cell, and carbon dioxide is more in the cell, less in blood vessels. Oxygen is more in blood vessels and less in cells. So first oxygen diffuses out in the interstitial fluid. Now here it is. And then after that it will go in the blood, in the cells. Same process here. The secretion of carbon dioxide will be in the liquid, in the interstitial gaps, and then from there it will go into the blood. And then it will go towards heart. Right? So blood capillaries are the thinnest. So first point you can say that it is the thinnest blood vessel. So if I'm saying thinnest, so there is a diameter. Diameter is around 10. Diameter is 10 micrometer. It's very small, and each capillary is lined by a single layer of flat cells. So you can say that each capillary is lined by a single layer of flat cells, and these cells are called endothelium. So if I have to draw how they look like, so it is like this. It's very simple. First you draw the circle, and then you can make cells arrangement like this. And then you can just clean these gaps. There are fine gaps are present here. They are not that much big. I'm just drawing you to show the gap. So this gap, so and this is the cell, and each cells have a nucleus. Nucleus are also arranged like this, and blood is flowing through this. Sometimes the WBC get squeezed out through the gaps of the blood vessels. This is the WBC which is getting squeezed out from the blood capillary. So this is how the structure look like. Okay, and the last point that this endothelium, this layer is called endothelium. They are one cell thick, so they provide exchange way, so exchange pathway. You can say that the endothelium allows the exchange of substances and gases. So when we say substances, when we say substances, the meaning is salts, right, minerals, ions, amino acid, glucose, fats, all these things are going to get exchanged between blood capillary and the cells. And gases, we are trying to say that it is respiratory gases. An example is CO2 and oxygen.